For most of us, it sounds like a cautionary tale. A warning for the criminal, the scammer, the predator. But for the people in this video, it wasn't a warning. It was a frightening reality. Pause for effect before we start. I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest. Where are you watching this right now? You safe? Hiding under your covers with just your phone screen lighting up the dark? Are you alone in your car, parked in an empty lot, listening to this? Or are you watching it at your desk in the office, even though you probably shouldn't be? Let me know in the comments. Tell me what time it is where you are, and most importantly, if you're wearing headphones. Because believe me, For this video, you are going to need them. We have a goal this week. It's a big one. 500 new subscribers. If you want to see terrifying real-life horror stories like this every day, hit that subscribe button right now. Help me reach this goal. It means the world, and it keeps these nightmares coming. So turn out the lights. Put those headphones on. And let's get started with this story of crime, mystery, and a documentary you won't soon forget. The listing was perfect. It should have been my first warning. In the universe of my quiet, ordered life, perfection was always a typo, a glitch, a delayed email. Perfection was suspicious. Free solid wood bookshelf. 6 feet by 3 feet? Must pick. Apt 1B? Just knock and come in. I'll be in the shower. I read it 3 times, my finger hovering over the trackpad. The casualness of it was what snagged. The shower, it tells a stranger. They'll be naked and wet and utterly vulnerable. Someone either remarkably trusting or someone who didn't plan on being the one in danger. But it was solid wood and free. And my current bookshelf was a sagging IKEA disaster. Its particle board shelves bowed under the weight of too many design annuals and unfinished sketchbooks. My rent in this ground floor Belltown apartment consumed 60% of my freelance income. Free was a language I understood. Social anxiety is a strange beast. It makes you terrified of people, yet utterly reliant on their discarded furniture. I would knock firmly, but politely. I would say, "Hello, it's the person about the bookshelf." I would be efficient and invisible. I would be gone before my awkwardness could stain the encounter. At 7:42 p.m., parked my rattling Honda Civic on Oak Street. The address was one of those newer apartment buildings, all gray concrete and floor-to-ceiling windows, dropped into it looked temporary, like it didn't belong. Apt 1B was on the ground floor, its window a dark rectangle beside the main entrance. A soft yellow light bled from behind the blinds. I took a breath. My purpose. I pushed open the outer door, which was propped slightly ajar with a wedge of cardboard, and walked down a short carpeted hallway that smelled of artificial lavender and takeaway Chinese food. Apartment 1B was at the end. The door was closed. Knocked. 3 sharp raps. From inside, muffled by wood in the distance of the apartment, a voice called out, "Come in. It's open." My stomach tightened. It was a man's voice, light, unconcerned, just as advertised. I turned the handle and pushed the door open. The apartment was small, a typical 1-bedroom layout. The living room was cluttered, but not dirty. Stacks of books, a gaming chair, a half-finished puzzle of a galaxy on the coffee table. It smelled of sandalwood and something else, something metallic I couldn't place. From the back of the apartment, I heard the distinct hiss and drum of a shower running. A moment later, a man's voice started humming a tuneless, happy song. Okay? This was fine. This was normal. The bookshelf was right where he'd said, in the short hallway leading to what I assumed was the bedroom and bathroom. It was beautiful. Solid dark wood, dovetailed joints. A lifetime of stories held in its frame. I ran my hand along its side, already planning where it would go in my living room. Which books would claim the prime shelves. I crouched to get a better grip on the base, see how heavy it was. And that's when my eyes snagged on the photograph. It was a simple frame on the wall, one of those cheap ones from a drugstore. It held a picture of a smiling family. A man and a woman, arms around 2 young kids, squinting in bright sunshine. Behind them was a house. A small wooden house with a wraparound porch and a big oak tree in the front yard. A house with a chimney, a house that was absolutely, categorically not in a gray concrete block in Seattle. The humming from the shower continued, oblivious. I looked at the other photos on the wall. More generic landscapes. A framed movie poster for an old black and white film. Nothing personal. Nothing that felt like the person who was currently washing his hair 20 feet away. The metallic smell in the air seemed to sharpen. A small, cold bead of sweat traced a path down my spine. Whose apartment was this? The man in the shower, humming a happy tune, expecting a stranger to walk into his home. Was he the man from the photograph? The man with the wife and the kids and the house with the porch? Or was he someone else entirely? The humming stopped. I froze, my hands still resting on the cool wood of the shelf. The only sound was the water, now just a steady, senseless drumming against the tile. He was just standing in there, listening, waiting for me to announce myself. Open my mouth to call out, to follow my script, to dispel the sudden, irrational terror that had my heart slamming against my ribs. But before I could make a sound, I heard it. A floorboard creaked, not from the bathroom, from behind me. From the dark maw of the bedroom just a few feet away, the air in my lungs turned to ice. My body became a statue, every nerve screaming for flight, but my muscles locked in place. I wasn't alone in here. There was someone in the bedroom, someone who had been waiting silently in the dark while I admired the shelf. While the man in the shower sang his happy song, the shelf clattered. To the floor, the sound obscenely loud. I didn't think, just ran, stumbling towards the front door. My only thought the sliver of gray hallway and freedom beyond it. I grabbed the handle and pulled. The door opened 2 inches and stopped with a sharp rattle of metal. The chain. A heavy brass chain I hadn't noticed when I walked in, now pulled taut, a gleaming silver leash holding me to this nightmare. I clawed at it, my fingers clumsy and useless. "You're early." The voice was soft, almost amused. It came from the kitchen, which opened off the living room. A man leaned against the counter, arms folded. He was thin, with a sharp, stubbled jaw and eyes that were dark and flat, like stones at the bottom of a river. In his right hand, he held a hammer, hung loosely at his side, casual as if he'd just been doing a bit of light DIY. He didn't move. He didn't need to. The smile that touched his lips was worse than any chase. It was a smile of pure, patient enjoyment. "He's still in the shower," he said. Nodding his head towards the bathroom, as if on cue, I heard the bathroom door finally open, a rush of steam and the squeak of hinges. A wet, confused voice, the one that had been humming, called out, "Hello, Julie? Is that you? Who's here?" The man with the hammer just watched me. His smile widened a fraction. In his flat eyes, I saw myself reflected. A stranger, a variable, a key. I was the one who knocked. I was the one who walked into an apartment with an unlocked door. I was the one who would now, in the chaos and confusion, be the perfect diversion while he did whatever he came here to do. I was the bait. I was the accomplice. And I hadn't even known it. A new sound joined the terrified pounding of my heart. The wet slap of bare feet on the hallway floor, approaching the living room. The real victim was about to walk into his own nightmare. Panic finally unlocked my limbs. I grabbed the nearest thing, a heavy ceramic lamp on a side table, and swung it with all my terrified strength at the window beside the door. The glass didn't just break. It exploded, a shower of glittering shards in cold night air. The man with the hammer flinched just for a second, his eyes widening. It was all in vain. I threw myself at the front door, my fingers finding the cold metal of the chain, scraping, clawing until it finally, mercifully, slid free. I wrenched the door open and stumbled into the hallway just as the man from the shower, a towel clutched around his waist, his face a pale oval of pure, dawning horror, appeared at the end of his own hallway. Our eyes met for a fraction of a second. His were wide with questions he would never get to ask. I saw his lips form the word "what?" But I was already running, my shoes slipping on the carpet, bursting through the outer door into the wet, clean air of the Seattle night. I didn't look back. I didn't stop running until I reached my car, my hands shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. I drove home on autopilot, through streets that suddenly felt foreign and menacing. The next morning, I didn't open my laptop. I didn't make coffee. I sat on my sagging IKEA bookshelf, staring at the wall, waiting. The news alert came at 11:47 a.m., home invasion homicide in Belltown. Police are searching for a suspect in the death of a 34-year-old man on Oak Street. Witnesses report seeing an unknown individual fleeing the scene. Anyone with information is urged to contact Seattle PD. I read it 5 times. The words didn't change. A 34-year-old man. The one with the happy humming voice. The one who just wanted a free bookshelf gone from his hallway. They're looking for a witness. They're looking for me, and I can't go to the police. Because what do I say? I answered a free ad. That I unlocked a door for a man with a hammer? That I ran while someone else died? I was just trying to be frugal. I was just trying to be invisible. But I was seen. I was used. And now, I am the only other person who knows what happened in that apartment. I am the witness. I am the accomplice. And I am the nightmare that the man with the hammer will carry with him, a loose end that knows his face. My phone is silent. My door is locked. And every time the shower runs in my own small ground floor apartment, I can't move. I just sit here, listening, waiting for a knock, waiting for the floorboard to creak behind me. Asterisk, the advertisement was a poem disguised as a listing. Antique writing desk, solid oak, 50 pounds, the headline read, which was reasonable for a flat-pack wardrobe, let alone a desk. But the description beneath was something else entirely. The wood remembers. It was part of the herd. Now it will serve you. Come at dusk. Scrolled past. Any sane person would have. But I'd spent 3 weeks in this Yorkshire village, with its dry stone walls and its sheep and its natives who looked through me like I was a tourist attraction. They were tired of explaining. My novel was stalled on page 47. My London. Cynicism was the only thing keeping me warm at night. And that desk, even in the grainy photograph, was beautiful. Massive, dark, intricately carved. A desk with a story. A desk that might finally give me one to tell. The farmer's name was Wreath. He didn't offer it. I found it on a dented mailbox at the end of a track that wound up onto the moor, like a gray tongue. He met me in the lane as dusk settled, a long man with skin like cured leather and eyes the color of wet slate. He didn't shake my hand. He just turned and walked towards a barn, expecting me to follow. The wind across the open moor made a sound I didn't like, a low, rhythmic whistle through the grass that almost sounded like breathing. The barn was old, older than the farmhouse, I'd guess. The beams inside were black with age and carved, with things that made my urban brain stutter. Antlers, yes. Spirals. And deer, I think they were deer, but their bodies were too long. Their necks twisted at angles that suggested movement, or pain, or both. And their eyes. They had too many eyes. Carved into every surface, watching from the shadows. But the desk. God, the desk. It stood in the center of the earthen floor like an altar. 5 feet wide, ancient oak so dark it was almost black, covered in a patina of age that no antique dealer could replicate. The carvings on it were different from the beams. These were figures running, leaping, their forms half human, half deer, twisted together in a frozen stampede across the wood. I ran my hand over it. It was warm, not sun warm. Living warm. It was part of the herd, Wreath said from behind me. I'd forgotten he was there. Now it serves? You'll feed it? I laughed. A big city journalist laugh. The kind you use to show you're in on the joke. Feed it what? My manuscript? He didn't smile. Just stared with those slate eyes until my laugh died in my throat. It gets hungry, he said. Feed it. I gave him 40 pounds. He'd knocked a tenner off for cash and he helped me wrestle the thing into my hired van. It took both of us, and even then, it felt heavier than oak had any right to be. I drove away, the headlights catching the receding figure of Wreath standing in the lane. I felt something shift in the back of the van. Just the desk settling, I told myself. Just the winding moorland road. But I kept checking the rearview mirror. I kept seeing a darkness back there that didn't quite match the shadows. The cottage was small, low-ceilinged, with windows that rattled in the moor wind. The desk dominated the study, filling the space like a piece of furniture that had decided to become architecture. I arranged my laptop on it, my notebooks, a mug of tea. It felt right. It felt like I could finally write. That first night, I heard scratching. I woke at 3 a.m., certain someone was at the door. But the sound came from downstairs, from the study, delicate, persistent, like fingernails on wood. By the time I crept down with a torch, it had stopped. The desk sat in the moonlight, serene and beautiful. I told myself it was mice. Old cottages have mice. I went back to bed. The scratching came every night after that. Louder sometimes, more insistent. I stopped going down to check. I lay in bed instead, staring at the ceiling, listening to something work its way through the wood downstairs. And I dreamed always the same dream. I was running through a forest, but it was a wrong forest, all twisted trunks and moonless dark. Something was behind me. I never saw it, but I felt its presence like a pressure change, like the air itself was being displaced by its mass. Breathed in rhythm with the wind through the grass. It had too many eyes, and it was patient. It didn't need to catch me, just needed me to keep running. One morning I found hair in the desk drawer. Of course dark, thick as horsehair, but with a greasy feel that made me wipe my fingers on my jeans. I told myself it must have been there already, from the farmer, from the barn. But I'd cleaned every drawer before putting my things in. I was sure of it. I tried to move the desk then, just shifted a few inches. Proved to myself it was just furniture, it didn't move. Not a millimeter. I braced my feet against the floorboards and heaved until my vision blurred, and the desk sat there, immovable, rooted. The floorboards beneath it weren't even creaking. It was like trying to move a tree. That night, the scratching was different. It was closer. I lay in the dark, heart hammering, and listened to it travel. It's not from the study below anymore, but from the hallway, from the stairs, delicate, persistent, ascending. Fingernails on wood, climbing towards me. I didn't sleep. I sat with my back against the headboard, holding a torch like a weapon, and listened to it stop right outside my door. Nothing happened. Eventually dawn came. I stumbled downstairs, shaking, convinced I'd find the door open, something waiting. The door was closed. The hallway was empty. The study floor, my beautiful original white oak floorboards, was gouged. Deep, fresh scratches ran from the desk to the doorway. From the doorway to the stairs. From the stairs to my bedroom. They looked like claw marks. It's like something had pulled itself across the wood. I don't remember fetching the axe. I remember the weight of it in my hands, the way the firelight from the hearth caught its blade. I remember swinging. The desk screamed. It was high and thin and ancient, a sound that seemed to come from the wood itself, from every grain and knot. The axe bit deep, and the wood splintered, and from the cracks poured a cloud of black dust. Ash fawn that billowed into the room and then was gone, sucked up the chimney or through the cracks in the window frames. I kept swinging until the desk was kindling, until my arms burned and my ears rang with the silence that followed. I burned it all, piece by piece in the hearth, watching the flames turn blue and green and then ordinary orange. The cottage felt empty afterwards, clean. I slept for 12 hours straight. It's dreamless and deep. The next morning I made tea and opened my laptop to check the local news, a habit from my journalist days. And there it was, third item down. Hiker found dead on. More in suspected animal attack. I read the article standing up, my tea growing cold in my hand. A man, out for an early morning walk, had been found by a farmer. The body was badly torn. Police were advising caution, warning of a possible rogue deer during rutting season. An expert was quoted, saying the wounds were consistent with a massive stag butt, unusual, because no deer had antlers capable of causing that kind of damage. It's that kind of rending. They'd found him near Reith's farm. Just off the lane where I'd parked my van, I looked at the hearth. At the pile of ash and a few unburned fragments of dark wood, I didn't kill it, I realized. I just broke its tether. It wasn't the desk. It was never the desk. The desk was just where it slept, where it fed, where it waited until it had strength enough to move again. The wood remembers, the listing had said. It was part of the herd, and now it's not. I'm typing this on my laptop. It's balanced on my knees, because I don't have a desk anymore. Outside my window, the moor stretches away under a gray sky. The wind is picking up, makes a sound through. The grass, a low, rhythmic whistle. It sounds like breathing. And tonight, for the first time since I burned the desk, I'll have to turn out the lights.